Hello, today I'm speaking with Johnny from Texas, and he has a pretty incredible story about how you've lost quite a bit of weight. And so, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to where you got to, and what made you change your mind?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like she said, Johnny P here. And yeah, so I guess just the food. I mean, there's no way around it. That's pretty much it. I was eating anything and everything. I was for the longest time, going through school, high school and stuff, I played sports. So I was in, decent shape. I mean, lifting weights every day. I played football, played basketball, ran track, did all that. Went to college, and I stopped doing that. I kind of just started hanging out with friends. We would go work out and stuff, but it wasn't anything crazy or anything like that. It was just pretty much just, I mean, hanging out, books, and partying. Just like the stereotypical college experience is kind of what I did, and it just started kind of adding on. And it was slow at first, and then, I mean, it's just one of those things. You kind of, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. You're just like, you kind of pass yourself in the mirror one day, and boom, you're just like, whoa, what just happened? And
Sure.
so yeah, so it's kind of a trickle effect. I mean, I was probably right around, my walking around weight was probably like 220 for maybe my freshman and sophomore year. So that's kind of what it was. It was oh, I'm so sorry, let me
That's
get
okay. No
there.
worries.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So like my freshman and sophomore year, I was around 220, 225. And then, I guess just my body just couldn't really, do it anymore. So I just started adding on the weight, packing it on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just, years after that, just slowly but surely. And I don't know what kind of changed, but I think once I saw it on the scale, I stopped weighing myself for the longest time. Like I said, once you catch that glimpse in the mirror, it's bad. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, I'm probably not going to weigh myself for a while. But my whole mentality was just kind of, it was like, well, I can turn it on whenever I want, and I can go to the gym, I can do
Mm-hmm.
this, but then life happens, work and all of that. And the
And
gym is,
Whataburger.
exactly, you got it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I have been known to put down those triple meats, from time to time. um, but yeah, it was just a slow trickle effect, and just that mentality of just, I can turn it on whenever I want, and that just wasn't the case. I mean, it really wasn't, and it wasn't until, last year, 2023, like right around Easter, I was like, I need something, because I've dieted before. I've lost 20, 30, 40 pounds. I started doing, I cannot remember the name of the shakes, but it was just like a protein shake in the morning, and just regular lunch, regular dinner. And that, that sustained me for a little bit, but then again, back, bad
Mm-hmm.
habits die hard. So,
Sure.
so it went right back to where I was. And I just needed, I needed just a complete overhaul of kind of where I was. And, and I'm not sure, if you've watched the video about me kind of touching on a little bit of my gout, like it runs in my family.
No.
Yeah, it runs in my family. So, I mean, I was constantly watching what I was eating, and just like I couldn't, do meat. My thing isn't really red meat.
Mhm.
It's like shellfish. So,
Okay.
but I was still, kind of timid to start anything. But it just seems like, when your body's already a wreck, like that gout just kind of sets in there, and like I was having flare ups all the time,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, so I was nervous to like kind of change my diet like so dramatically. But
Sure.
yeah, but with carnivore, I was like, like I've hit it on, my videos too, just the simplicity of it. I was like, I'm just gonna try. I mean, it can't be any worse than what it is right now. I mean, being 365 pounds, that was at my heaviest. And I'm not sure if I posted like any pictures of like my face when I was that heavy.
No,
There,
I think I've seen from like here down.
yeah. So like when I was that heavy, I mean, I retain a ton of water, and that's just like, that's how I fluctuate so high
Yeah.
and low, is just because I retain so much water when I'm eating terribly. But yeah, you could see, I mean, it looks like I got stung by a bunch of bees.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
it is brutal to,
I want that
to,
photo.
yeah, absolutely. You know what? And I can try to dig one up, but it's so hard because like you want to keep track of your diet, you really do. But I mean, when you're beginning, I'm surprised I even have some of the pictures that I have, because that's the last thing I wanted to do was take a picture,
Right.
so a lot of those photos, I mean, they're probably, into the diet or into a diet of some sort, before taking them. So, I mean, those before pictures don't really do me a whole lot of justice as far as how much I've like truly lost. But yeah, so 365,
Wow.
yeah, I'm almost hitting that 400-pound mark. I was nervous about my heart. Like, I didn't want to ever go to the doctor. I was like, oh, I already know my blood pressure's up. I already know, like, I'm probably pre-diabetic. Like, it's just a, litany of things I knew what was possibly going on with my body, and I just didn't want to hear it. And that's kind of like a cycle I feel like a lot of people fall into.
Sure.
It's like, it's so bad I don't even want to know.
Hmm.
And that's where I was, pushing 400 pounds, and I'm only 6 feet tall. So, I mean, I was just carrying it right around my midsection. It was crazy because my legs were actually like getting super skinny, and like I was just carrying, I was like, oh my
Oh,
gosh,
wow.
yeah, I was like, this is terrible. But yeah, a 365, I'm floating around, anywhere from 200 to like 210. I'm sitting right about, 207 today.
Yeah.
Just a
Wow.
dramatic
That's
weight
that's
loss. Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
so crazy.
It is,
I
yeah.
got
And
to
I
see
mean,
these before photos, not just the belly.
exactly. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm telling you, the face picture, you'll be like, who is this guy? It's not, it's crazy. Just like, even from, I don't know, like even losing like 50 pounds, like it all comes out of my face. Because it's so much
Oh,
water
wow.
retention. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
How old are
yeah,
you? I'm just curious.
33.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious because I think you look very young, by the way. I think
Thank you.
people want to know how old you are because someone who maybe is also like close to 400 pounds, they're like, yeah, but this guy's like 18 years old. Look at him.
Yeah.
Because your body's going to respond differently when you're younger. So,
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's like that mentality I was talking about is because I just felt like, back in, 18, 19, 20, 21, I could just turn it on and I would lose weight. It's not like I ever focused on losing weight. It was like, all right, well, how much muscle can I pack on this summer? Just things
okay.
like that. And like, that's
Yeah,
how my mentality was. And it catches up with you. And I think
sure.
that's why I needed, something so dramatic. And that's kind of why I turned towards the carnivore. I didn't, It's funny because like I've heard about keto and all that, and I just blew right past it. I didn't even give keto a shot, to be honest. I was like, nope, it's either all or nothing for me. And I was
That's
like, if I
awesome.
start, if I dabble a little bit with carbs, like it kind of spirals, I think. And
Right.
it's not like I tell myself, and I tell some of my family members too, it's just like for me, it really was all or nothing. And I just had to like something so dramatic. And that's why I did OMAD with it too, is because I was like, I just need to like stop eating, like it was just that bad. I was like, waking up eating whatever, some kind of
Sure.
sugary something,
Hmm.
if not McDonald's, Whataburger, all sorts, the works. I mean,
Yeah,
it was crazy just looking back and just like how I was eating. And like, I mean, I think of, some people touch on it, but I mean, you save a lot of money too, like if you're not
sure.
eating out. And I think that was, just another positive side effect was like, I'm not sitting here thinking about, okay, where am I going to drive to grab something to eat? Where am I going to,
Right.
spend my money today? It's just one of those things. It's all positive for me so far.
That's awesome. And how do you eat now? Or how did you start and how do you eat now?
So I started with just steak and eggs, and then
Okay.
chicken, and but I remember hearing, I think it was Dr. Barry. He's adamant about steak and eggs, and I was like, I love steak, I love grilling. I was like, let's just do that. And I was like, how simple is that? I mean, I was so strict with my diet that I wouldn't even put pepper on my steak. It was
Oh,
literally
wow.
just sea
Nice.
salt and eggs, and that was it. But that's when I first started because I was so worried about like, oh well, I need the best results possible, and looking back, of course, that was being pretty insane about things, but it got me the results. But yeah, so I was eating. I started with steak and eggs, implemented chicken. And I'm not a huge fish guy, but I won't pass up fish if that's all I have in the freezer or
Sure.
the fridge. And now I'm still eating pretty much the same. I mean, it's a pound to a pound and a half. I've actually kind of upped it since I started going to the gym. So maybe almost 2 pounds of any kind of protein, and then I just add eggs with it.
Okay.
I also started adding some fats, and this is just because of the texture for me. But I do pork rinds too,
Okay.
and that's more of a texture thing, just
Hmm.
it's just
Your
nice to have a
potato
crunch.
chips.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Or like, the crunch of a vegetable.
Yeah.
like it kind of reminds me of that.
Like a
So
football.
exactly, hey, there you go. So that's kind of where my mentality is. And it's not
Yeah.
like I tell people too, it's like, don't be afraid of food. Like a lot of people have been commenting, they're just like, well, can I do this? Did you do that? And I was like, well, I mean, does it work for you? Like, don't be afraid
Sure.
of your food. Like, I mean, you can experiment with different things. Like, going keto first might be for a lot of people the right move, just because they're not cutting everything out immediately. And I'm not sure, but it's just whatever diet works for you is going to be the one
Right.
you're going to stick to. A lot of people
Sure.
think. I mean, when I was telling my family members, first thing, they said is like, I mean, your heart's gonna, do something crazy, like you're gonna have high blood. I was like, I've
Yeah.
never felt healthier, but I mean, you're only insane until people see results, and
Right.
that's kind of the mentality I've been living by too. Is like now everyone's like, oh my gosh, what did you do? And I was like, I told you,
Sure.
9 months ago what I was doing.
That's awesome. And 9 months ago, how did you feel like mentally?
you
Or
know,
like when you're so big, not necessarily like how you feel about how you look, but like, was your back hurting? How did you feel? Because I know
yeah,
I felt like poop all the time.
you know what? I actually touched on this one too. I think one of the most embarrassing things, and not even embarrassing, but it was just kind of a reality check, is I was sitting on the side of my bed, and I've never had to really like sit down to tie my shoes, but it got to the point where I was sitting down to tie my shoes and then like lifting my leg up or going straight down and trying to tie my shoes. I got out of breath. Like, and it
Oh,
wasn't
wow.
because like I was like being strenuous. It's because like my stomach was so big, it was like touching my lungs or something. Like that's what it felt like something was
Oh,
on my
wow.
lungs. So that was terrible. And then
Sure.
yeah, so that's kind of it started like opening my eyes to how I felt. Yeah, like I said, the gout was horrible. Whenever I'd have a flare up, it was just debilitating where I couldn't do anything. And if you know anything about gout, it's just a buildup of uric acid, and it just, I mean, you can't move depending on what joint it hits.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was awful. My back, it wasn't really my lower back, but it was just my overall back, because I think I was sleeping like in weird positions. I'm sure I had sleep apnea. My knees, I mean, if I tried to run, back then, I feel like I'd break something. And that's how like it's crazy, because you get to this point like where you're cautious about like where you're going as far as like sitting down, laying down, stepping on things, like I being athletic, like all of my younger years, I just felt like, I mean, if you asked me to do like to run up some stairs or jump over something, I felt like probably mentally I'd be like, oh, I can still do that. But physically I was like, no, if you fall down, you're gonna break something. And
Oh, wow.
to
Yeah.
have that reality gut check, just like, oh, it's just a terrible feeling that I don't, ever want to go back to. And that's what I kind of remind myself of. But just to kind of like sum it all up, like it was just pain is what it was. And even like
Right.
being in that mental state too, just like, oh man, this is a fall or a hard fall, like,
Right.
from where you were. And then, yeah, just the overall physical pain too is just, I mean, intolerable for sure.
Okay. And yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Yes,
It
man.
sucks.
It does.
And you think like in your 30s, um, in my early years, in my early 30s before I had kids, I still had a lot of pain, but I wasn't overweight actually at that moment in my life. But I had all of this inflammation and pain. I think back pain for like 20 years. I had no correlation that had anything to do with what I was eating. As I'm like with back pain eating hot free Cheetos.
Yeah, that's it. Good
Like,
old
why
hot
does my
Cheetos.
back stop hurt?
Yeah,
When did it stop hurting? But it's
absolutely.
crazy. How long was it when, like, you started, and then when did you notice the pain started going away?
Um, I think it was like, I mean, once you, because like I said, I retain a lot of water, so I mean, of course,
Mhm.
it's not actual fat loss, but it is like all that water weight coming off. So that's what I tell people too, is like, it doesn't matter if like, it's not technically fat loss, because it's not. I mean, you're not gonna, turn, because I mean, it was a week and I was down 20 or 30 pounds. If just water, I'm telling
What?
you,
That's
my water retention
crazy.
is, I mean, second to none. It's awful. But yeah, so I noticed almost immediately, just because that, I mean, not carrying around that extra 20 or 30 pounds, like
Yeah.
it felt amazing. And then of course, like you said, whenever you eat, terribly, like, I mean, it's like you're messing up your gut biome, all sorts
Right.
of things, and it just makes you feel bad, physically. And that's like, so when I started cleaning up my diet, I mean, I could tell almost immediately. I mean, down to like, my knees feeling better, not feeling like I'm walking around like, jiggling everywhere I go. And yet, and, and like even with the fat still being there, like
Yeah.
of course, it wasn't like, I mean, I could see it in my face and, my extremities and stuff, because even my hands were like super fat with like water.
Yeah.
Just seeing that, I knew I was on the right path, so it put me in a mental state of knowing that's where I'm going.
Sure.
So it could have been a placebo effect where I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is gonna, it's gonna work this time, and like it just made my drive that much stronger. So I kind of maybe shut down the pain a little bit. But
Yeah.
if I had to put like a time frame on it, I would say the first couple weeks.
Okay. Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I'm curious though. So, because I haven't lost that much as you have,
Mhm.
and I have other things wrong with my skin related to having children.
Yeah.
It gets all stretched out. But do you have like a lot of loose skin, or what happened there? I know you did a video about it, but
Yeah, so I actually don't have a ton of loose skin. I mean, you think someone who lost 160 pounds, 165 pounds, like the skin is just gonna. I mean, you're gonna be able to make a 10 out of it or something. But no, it's actually not that bad. And like I attribute it to, obviously I'm not. I have no idea the science behind it or the
yeah.
elasticity of the skin or any of that stuff. I just know that one, the creams that say it tighten your skin, they don't work. I've
Okay.
I've tried those.
Okay.
I've tried the expensive, the cheap, all of that. But so what I did is I literally did I attribute it to fasting. I feel like that
Okay.
is the only thing that kind of separates my journey from a lot of people who've lost a ton of weight, whether that's on carnivore but not doing like the way I did it with OMAD,
Mm-hmm.
or people who have lost it just exercising out, kind of outrunning their diet, or
Yeah.
yeah, kind of outrunning their diet if they're still doing carbs and all that, or being
Sure.
calorie intake, whatever that looks like to you. Like the only difference I can attribute it to is like the fasting. And
Sure.
that's kind of where, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, I mean, I just don't have a ton of loose skin like you might guess. But it's still there, and that's what I said in my video too, is like there's no getting around it. Like it's still,
Sure.
loose skin, but it's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay. Yeah, I think it must be the fasting.
Has to be.
I've listened to Dr. Berg videos about autophagy and the same subject, and I think that, or maybe somebody else, but I think that has to be it, because the body's like eating up the stuff it doesn't need.
Yeah, autophagy is real. And like Dr.
Yeah.
Berg, it's funny because I started with him and Dr. Barry, and like
Okay.
I went to your channel and I saw that those are kind of like
Aww.
your, yeah, I saw that they're kind of your guys, and I was like, nice. I was like, there's something to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, autophagy is, I mean, it's backed by science, and like Dr. Berg, like you said, goes through it in depth. And
Sure.
that's what kind of got the ball rolling for me too, as far as fasting goes.
Great. That's awesome. And so do you live alone? I'm not trying to be personal. I'm trying to see, like, are there other influences in your house that make this harder for you? That's what I'm trying
No,
to ask.
no, not at all. But no, I don't live alone. But
Okay.
but it's one of those things that, like, I mean, you have to be strict. Like, it would be a lot easier, and that, like once you get on this kind of trajectory where you're going, and nothing's gonna stop you, it becomes super easy. But it
Yeah.
wasn't really hard because I drew that hard line in the sand for myself. I'm like,
Okay.
it's just one of those things where, again, something clicked, and I just did not like what I saw in the mirror. I didn't like how I
Sure.
felt. And it didn't matter what it was. I mean, you could have set pizza, Whataburger. You could have set, anything in front of me, and it just was not going to stop me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just one of the, especially now. I mean, if you think about it, like I remember back, before DoorDash and all of those things got really popular.
Yeah.
Um, it was like a trip you would have to take, like, oh
Right.
gosh, I gotta go get my car. That would deter a lot of people. Now it's
Sure.
like they'll bring it to your door. So I think it's just one of those things that it all comes down to willpower. It's not really like who you live with, because a lot of people want to, kind of jump on that same bandwagon. It's like, oh, well,
Sure.
I don't live alone. I'm the primary cook, whatever that looks like. It's like, well, you
Right.
can still do that and make your own,
Sure.
or, just not participate. But I know there's a social aspect to it too.
Right.
But I still sit down and I still have my food too, even if it takes, a few minutes longer. Like the family dinners are still there.
Okay.
But it's just one of those things, like that willpower has got to be stronger, or
Sure.
like any diet you're on, it will not last.
Sure. I think for me on like a carnivore sort of journey, and I'm not perfect. I literally have a cup of coffee right here. Just I always say that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like sometimes I try to reintroduce stuff or I slip up. But I found for me this is the easiest to get back to. And I don't recommend people slip up at all, but for me specifically, if I do, I feel terrible afterwards. So it's not about weight, it's about like how I'm going to physically feel like
Yeah.
24 or 48 hours later, and then that's like a constant reminder for me of how good versus how bad I'm gonna feel.
Oh, you're paying for it for
Yeah,
sure.
you're
Yeah.
you're totally paying for it. I even had a banana last week, or not even a whole banana, and 2 days of gut issues with a
Oh yeah.
banana. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. So, anyways, for me, I have to eat this way more for health than weight at this point. Like
Oh yeah.
more for how I'm gonna feel.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Yeah,
if it was something that I felt like wasn't sustainable, that would kind of worry me, like, well,
right.
I'm gonna feel terrible if and when I get off, get off this diet. But just the way I've been feeling, like, there's just no way that like I can even think about, even transitioning out. But you're right, we're all human, we're all gonna slip up. Like I've been
Sure.
doing, like like hot sauce with no sugar,
Yeah.
no carbs or anything like that, and it does it. I mean, you throw something new in there, it's just like, I don't know, like I don't know if I
Yeah.
want to keep pursuing that avenue. But
Sure.
yeah, sometimes I'll throw in something just for flavor.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the latest video I did, is like hidden sugars and stuff.
Right.
But
I
I
saw
think,
that one.
oh nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if you know what you're getting into, like it's just kind of one of those things, like know what you're signing up for, and then like
Sure.
that goes both ways. Like if you're gonna do something, there's definitely gonna be repercussions, but
Right.
it's not nearly as bad as being 165 pounds, larger than you
Oh
were.
my
So
goodness. Yeah, that's crazy. I and I feel like it's so easy. Like I couldn't stick to keto, but I was doing it all wrong. But this is a version of keto, but I feel like this is like so much easier to just stay on. It's so easy.
it is. Yes, it is. And you kind of hit on it too, like the rebound, getting back to it,
Yeah.
because of the simplicity, you're not really thinking about it. It's just like, let me just jump back on, eating meat, and that's about it.
Sure.
That's so
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
the simpler the better for me.
The
Yeah.
egg, steak, bacon. Who doesn't love that stuff?
Oh my goodness, I know. Sign me up.
And it's crazy because it's literally like all the foods we've been told for years, like eggs have cholesterol,
Oh
don't
yeah.
eat so much steak, bacon's gonna kill you. And the things are being they're given a bad name so people want to eat sugar.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like all
It's
these fake foods, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy whenever, like, I mean, we were taught that. I mean, from a very young age, is like,
Right.
oh, too much of this will, do that to you. But it's just like thinking about how like processed everything else is. I mean, it
Right.
is just, it's like all these nitrates and everything else in our food. It's like, I'd rather take my chances on, a whole food,
Right.
as opposed to, chancing it with anything else.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Me too. Now that I know how I feel eating this way, and the thing that I craved various times in my life was always red meat.
Oh
Like, I mean,
yeah.
when it wasn't junk food, it was usually red meat that
Oh
I would
yeah,
want to be eating.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so that's really funny that that's the probably one of the healthiest things we could be eating.
No kidding. Yeah, exactly. And it's so weird to think about it like that, but it is like my body craved it too. Like I don't know,
Oh
when I
wow.
was younger, it was just kind of one of those things like, oh my goodness, we're having steak, sign me up. I'm ready to go. But it was
Yeah,
obviously with a baked potato, mac and
sure.
cheese, whatever,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that steak initially was kind of like the jumping off point for me.
That's awesome. How? So wait, let's talk about you. Also started going back to the gym though, like in the middle of this process, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
then what? How much gym were? I knew you explained this in videos, but how much gym time were you doing? What were you doing? And then did that help speed up the 163 pounds, or because you probably put muscle on also? I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely feel like I did, at least. And
Yeah.
from the pictures, you can like kind of see like the muscle striations and all that coming back. But okay, so I started probably going to the gym maybe 2.5, 3 months ago, and
Oh, okay.
again, same thing. Like I do everything to like just kind of jump all the way into it. So I started going 7 days a week, early morning, every single day. I had a gym routine. I kind of Like the staples are at least 30 minutes of cardio a day and then weightlifting. And
Okay.
starting out, I mean, it was hard. It really was. But losing that initial weight, not only did it get my confidence back to be able to want to go back to the gym, but also
Yeah.
it made it physically easier to do it. Without, like, I
Sure.
couldn't imagine doing the row machine or the stairmaster now, or even on the treadmill, 365. And I think that's what deters a lot of people, is like, I mean,
Right.
a lot of people don't want to go. I know I didn't. Even when I was, at 365, I was like, oh man, like I got to figure out my diet first. But in the back of my mind, I knew it was diet first, and then
Hmm.
everything else kind of falls into place. But yeah, I mean, I have energy, or so much energy, for the gym. And I've gotten a lot of questions about, do you go fasted? Which I do. Since I eat, around 5 to 6 every day, I'll go fasted to the gym around 4:30 or 5, so 12 hours fasted, and it doesn't affect me at all. In fact, I feel better. It's a lot of people, like, that's what I first thought too. I was like, oh, I need something to go to the gym. I don't want to pass
Right.
out and be embarrassing, or whatever.
I always think that about going to the gym. Like, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, yeah, and
I'll just stick
that's
to walking.
yeah, and that's kind of one of those things too, is like, you just gotta, kind of transition into that. And plus, I mean, we have, YouTube here,
Yeah.
that you can,
True.
look up different videos and all of that. And I was fortunate enough to kind of grow up in that, gym lifestyle, whether it's, working out with the football team, basketball team, going with my
Mm.
buddies,
Yeah.
just to a regular gym. So I kind of already had, that idea of what to do and all of that. So I understand some people where they're just like, I don't really know what to do. It's going to be, embarrassing. I think a lot of it plays, it's
Yes,
mental, it's the
yes.
embarrassment. Yeah. Yeah.
We have a gym where I live, and I'm like, these people all are like exercising. I'm just gonna go stand on that shaky plate thing.
That's it. Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, without I mean, and it's hard to build confidence if you don't
Right,
go. It's a double-edged sword, it's
right.
it's a, revolving door here, because if you can't go to the gym because you don't feel confident, you can't build confidence if you don't go to the
Right.
gym.
It's
So
it's
it's just,
true.
yeah, so you just gotta, bite the bullet on one end or the other.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm sure I'll get there. I'm sure
Oh,
I
absolutely.
hit the bike sometimes once in a while.
There we go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Have you convinced we're frozen. Are you,
Uh,
are you
Hello.
hello? I'll delete this. I'll edit this part. I think it's
Okay.
because I have my VPN on. 1 second. Are you there?
Yes, I can hear
Hello.
you. You're
Okay,
still
good. We're back.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah, I have to have my VPN on for work, and I forgot to turn it off. So there you go.
Yeah, we were
There you
smooth
go.
selling there for a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. Now I just have to do more editing.
There we
So,
go.
have you convinced any family or friends to start eating this way?
Not yet. Pretty close though. So like my whole thing is how dramatic of a weight loss it was in such a short amount of time. Like a
Yeah,
lot of, like, a couple of my buddies, they'll do like intermittent fasting, and they love that. But they were obviously, like, smaller than I was.
hmm,
But I mean, it's pretty close, because no one was as large as I was, and I don't think they understand that you can do this even without expecting to lose 100 plus pounds. It's
sure.
just but yeah, I mean, a couple have dabbled in fasting since, I've been doing it. They've been doing more more protein, more meat, but nothing like completely sold out the way I was doing it. But I know,
Yeah,
like a lot of people have, like, I've seen in my videos in the comment section, people are just now starting
yeah,
to do it, which makes me super happy.
yeah. It's awesome. That's why I started. Also, I wanted to like inspire some people to do it
Oh
because
yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
talk to my family.
Yeah.
No, I can, but and I have a lot, but find the people who want to hear you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And let the results kind of speak for themselves. But I'm telling you, everyone thought I was crazy in my family. They're like,
Sure.
you're gonna get sick, and also I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. Yeah.
Sure. Have you been to a doctor since then? Have you done any blood work or
I
anything?
I actually have not. That's on my to-do list though, because I am
Oh, okay.
super excited to go. Yeah, I just got to find the
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
sure. Just make sure that there's like Dr. Hampton or Dr. Avadia or any of those doctors will explain how to actually read your cholesterol.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely need to know that. Yeah.
Because it could look like super crazy high. And then I
Yeah.
went over my own blood work and I'm like, it's super healthy. It's how we're supposed to be. I think people don't really, I think some doctors don't really know how to read that.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm sure, I mean, people are taught, just kind of how we've, evolved in eating. Like I'm
Yeah,
sure that, those are so skewed, but, again, it's just one of those things that I'll have to do kind of my own research and talk to my,
sure.
primary and kind of see what his thoughts are.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, well, I can't wait to watch that video to see your
Yeah, me
blood
too.
work.
Yeah, I can't wait to make it. I'm excited. Yeah.
I started doing it like every 3 months. I'm backlogged now, but it's cool to see the differences
Oh
and
yeah.
like the improvements, especially if you have like autoimmune issues or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be
So
very interesting.
yeah, I can't wait. So what would you want to say to somebody who is like on the fence about carnivore?
I would say, why not? I mean, give it a shot, especially because, I mean, you and I can probably attest to this. I mean, if we're at the point where we're on the fence about anything, like as far as diets go, we've probably tried about 100 of them. So it's just like, why not give this one a shot? The other ones have failed you, or you failed the
Sure.
other ones. Because I mean, unless it's like just some weird, fad diet or something, like
Right.
like I feel like you fail diets, diets don't fail you. It's
Right.
just kind of like one of those things. Are you sticking to it? Probably not. Is it, or maybe it's just not for you? It's just one of
Yeah.
those things that's, it's kind of trying to find it. So I would tell them, just give it a shot. I mean, you can't beat the simplicity of it. And even if you backslide, hell, you're still in keto. So it's just one of those
Yeah.
things that, like this is so, far, as far as you can go on the spectrum of absolutely zero carbs to the best of your ability. I mean, your backslide is some people's best diet. So
Sure.
it's just one of those things that, like, why not give it a shot?
Sure. I always say people don't know what they don't know. Like
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
know what's going to happen until you try it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome. Well, do you have any final words you would like to say?
No, not really. And I appreciate you reaching out to me. This has been awesome.
Sure. Okay,
This is
awesome.
this is the kind of, like, I just, based on like the comments I've read and the carnivore, atmosphere that's on YouTube, like it just seems like such a friendly environment, and like you are an testament to that, just like reaching
Aw.
out. And yeah, so I just want to say I appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I just start like your videos popped up and I'm like, I have to talk to this guy. And then I
Yeah.
comment, where's your email?
Yeah. I actually just added it. I was like, just in
Yeah.
case someone was to reach out.
Yeah, it's so then YouTube like changed where they put that stuff like the about. So I found it at least.
Nice. Well, yes, I'm glad I put it in there, because it wasn't until probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 videos into it, I'm like, huh, maybe I should add that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, thanks so much. No, you just seem so happy. So I had to talk to you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm extremely happy. Yeah.
And then when you said yes, ma'am, in an email, I'm like, oh, it's a good Southern boy.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Oh, what was that? That was so weird. There was like a thumbs down thing that just popped up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have no idea what that was. That's weird. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to edit that out also.
More
Okay,
edits,
cool.
right?
Yeah. Oh, let me I'm gonna hit end recording. Give me 1 second.
Of course.